G'day. Keep that for later.
G'day. Wayno.
Action.
Start again. What do I say? I'm Wayne.
Hi.
I do lyrics.
I'm
Wayne. I sing for Toxicon.
Hey, my name's Adam and I play guitar in the band Toxicon. One take really. The idea for the track came to me pretty strangely. Much like the rest of the guys in the band, I get a lot of inspiration whilst driving. But because I have no original ideas, generally I'll be listening to music as I drive and be like, that's something that I could absolutely rebrand. Let's go with rebrand. There's an Australian band called Carnival, and they have a song at the end of their Themata album called Change Part 2, and they have like this weird, cool, spacey intro, and it goes for a little bit, and there's like this do-do-do-do, do-do-do, 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 and that's the end of the fucking song, and I'm like, where's the rest of that? So I was driving around, I'm like, cool, I could totally rebrand this. I wonder how the rest of this would sound, but as an actual song. And that's kind of how the main theme of Parallelysis started. It came together in about 3 or 4 hours, and I was really, really impressed with myself for actually pulling off something that I actually didn't hate within a very short space of time. And it is the only one of 3 occasions that our drummer, Tom, has actually listened to a piece of music I've given him and been, that's pretty good, instead of, it's not bad. So that was all the sort of gusto and inspiration that I needed to know this was going to be pretty cool.
One of the biggest inspirations I found for the song was with Incubus, Pardon Me. I really liked the message in that song. I liked the way he was sort of saying, pardon me while I burst into flames, you know, watch while this is happening, and while there's a normal life on one side, there's another kind of thing happening in the background that you don't really know about unless you're a part of it. And to me that started ringing a chord, and it started feeling like an emotion that I could hook onto. It started with that idea, and I sort of started seeing as well, we were in the middle of a lot of things in the band at that point. We were traveling a fair bit, but we were also putting a lot of time into recording and writing, and it was really taking a lot of our lives as far as time goes. And I noticed around me, the boys and myself, that the more time we put in and the better the music was sounding to us, the more relationships outside of the band itself were struggling. And it kind of seems like a pretty common theme with musicians that in order to push forward, you need to sacrifice a lot, and it's not always easy, and the people around you don't always understand why you're sacrificing, because they can't see what the end result is going to be. It sort of started with that idea and spawned into something a little bit more along the lines of, this is something that we're doing, and we need just that little bit of time and space to be able to pull it off. Difficulties in writing any track when you're given the music is that at the very beginning it's very much wedging stuff in and making it work. There is a process that we go through where we rewrite to a point to accent certain vocals that I may have, or sometimes we scrap whole parts and rewrite. At first it definitely felt like more of a heavier song. I started out with a lot more sort of growls or screaming, and nothing really was sticking, and there was no real emotion to it all. It was just the usual anger, so it wasn't really working. It's a balancing act, getting it all sort of to tag in with whatever emotion I'm going for. Once I had the rough idea of what was happening with the song, and I had the idea of the emotion behind it, writing the actual lyrics was very quick. I believe I wrote most of it while driving to record the demos, and that sort of became a theme for the album, really. There were a few rewrites on this song, if I remember, and a few little hiccups. We struggled for a while with the intro.
On what otherwise is a very single and a very direct song, you have this big minute and a half of just ambient prog odyssey that was so far up its own arse.
It just didn't, the original one seemed long-winded and didn't really work. It was cool, but it just didn't fit.
And I'd had a little bit of an idea of what something that I think might have worked with the intro, but I hadn't, before I walked in, but I had no idea how to piece that together. When I looked at our engineer, and part producer as well, Chris Nemilka, and I'm like, what do you reckon we do here? He's like, well, what do you reckon we do here? I'm like, well, fuck. We kind of grabbed guitars and we bounced the ideas off each other, and we created melodies and counter melodies and all sorts for it. And I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I couldn't think it could have been more concise or more song serving. So yeah, very, very happy I wrote that shit intro to get to the good intro. Upon hearing the final master of the song, I was blown away, not just by the song, but the whole record.
The demos were really good. Once we got them into the studio and we were doing the real takes, it really came alive. The song, there was a few tweaks with the guitars in the chorus that absolutely popped, and it was quite exciting. So I was really looking forward to hearing the final product.
I legitimately think it's the best metal mix I've ever heard, and I don't mean to brag, but I think that our producer Chris and everyone in the band, we all had a role to play in that. And I'm just blown away with how good the thing sounds.
It is funny hearing a song after the fact. It gets to a point where you've heard it so much it doesn't even sound like something that we did.
It's I couldn't personally think of a more catered and tailored but still musically integral alternative hybrid metal single.
It was everything that I'd hoped for. It's a cool song. I really like it.
It'll be interesting to see what everyone else thinks and if it actually is much chop. We'll find out.
Hi, I'm Wayne. I can't be serious.
We have a video. Hey, my name's Adam and I play guitar in the band Toxicon. One take, Willie. Ask me.
Amateurs.